Every loaf begins here, where golden wheat awaits the harvest. Modern harvesters process 12 tons of wheat per hour with precision engineering. Surgical precision separates grain from stalk in milliseconds. Inside this machine, ancient grain meets modern force. 3 cleaning stages ensure only perfect kernels make the cut. 8 tons stored overhead, ready for transfer. Harvest moves at the speed of modern agriculture. 25 tons per truck, heading to the mill. The journey from field to factory begins. Convoys deliver the harvest to waiting mills. Where raw grain becomes refined flour for 10,000 loaves. Quality inspection happens before the grain ever touches the mill. Gravity begins the transformation process. Underground systems move 500 tons daily. Precision engineering moves grain without waste. Upward to storage, where wheat awaits its destiny. At the top of the mill, grain becomes inventory, measured, controlled, and protected.
Even storage is engineered, because consistency starts long before mixing.
The harvest rests until the mill calls it back into motion.
A single lever releases thousands of kilos into the milling line. Before flour, there's purification, removing what the field brought along.
Greens and gravity do what hands never could. Fast, repeatable, relentless. Air becomes a tool, stripping away the invisible contaminants. Every gram of dust removed protects flavor and protects machines. Weight and motion reveal truth. Stone climbs, grain descends. Tempering is patience engineered, water and time preparing the kernel for clean breaks. In this quiet interval, the mill decides the texture of tomorrow's bread.
This is the first fracture, where wheat begins to surrender its structure.
Milling is not one step. It's a cascade of controlled separations.
A white stream appears, proof that the kernel has been opened and refined. Now the flour leaves the mill, crossing into the heart of bread production. Across one doorway, flour becomes a living process. Every gram is guided, sealed, measured, repeatable. Bread begins with discipline, measured before it is mixed. Gravity delivers the first ingredient to steel.
Steel turns, and the powder learns motion.
Life enters the system through a calibrated line.
Tiny additions, huge consequences in texture and rise. Strength is built by folding again and again. When mixing ends, the dough is ready to travel. A batch drops like a tide, warm, elastic, alive.
The dough doesn't rest yet, it's just changing phase.
Here, time becomes an ingredient.
The batch disappears into steel, ready to rise from within. Fermentation is quiet chemistry, measured in degrees and minutes.
In modern bakeries, even waiting is automated.
From quiet fermentation, the dough returns, ready to be portioned with precision. Portioning begins where volume becomes count. Uniformity is engineered, one portion at a time. Rounding gives the dough tension, its first structure, a short rest, so the dough can relax before shaping.
Warmth and moisture wake the yeast again.
Shaping turns a portion into a loaf in waiting.
Now the loaf has a mold and a direction.
This is where volume is born, quietly, in controlled air.
The dough swells with trapped gas, structure becoming softness.
A single cut guides the rise, preventing rupture, shaping the crust.
The moment of no return, where dough becomes bread. Heat drives the final rise, then locks it in place.
Fresh bread meets air, and the crust begins to sing.
Color is chemistry. Caramelization under controlled fire.
Fresh bread meets air, and the crust begins to sing.
Cooling is controlled too, because slicing demands stability.
The pan lets go, and the loaf becomes its own object. Uniform slices start with uniform control. Steel sings briefly, then leaves only perfect slices behind. Fresh bread is protected, sealed against the world. A simple seal turns a loaf into a product. Automation doesn't replace care, it scales it. Texture tells the truth the machines can't feel. Science guards the simplest food. Every run is tested, because consistency is a promise. Pass or fail, every loaf has a record. The line doesn't end at the loaf, it ends at readiness. Protection is engineered. right down to the final layer of film. For a moment, the product rests, waiting for demand. The factorial's rhythm continues, now carried on wheels. From field to fleet, the system never stops moving. And this is how modern factories produce bread from start to finish.